Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like here, like it's what, Duke?
Are we ready,
We'll
Jen?
go here.
Yeah.
Duke,
Duke
if
would
it's like
be
it's
a-
really.
Yeah.
Okay, good evening, everyone. It is now 6:32, and I will call this city commission meeting to order. And
Mr. Hall.
I don't see Pastor Hull, so we will stand. Right, we will stand and we'll have a moment of silence, please, and then we'll do pledge of allegiance. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Tom, would you do roll call for us, please?
Yes, ma'am. Mayor James,
Here.
Mayor Jones,
Here.
Commissioner Ambler,
Here.
Commissioner
Here.
Thank you. Okay, approval of the agenda. And before we do that, I understand that we have a representative here for the development in item number 1 that would like to speak to us. And then after that, we will follow it with Kimberly Horn, and we'll go from there. But-
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. I was telling him to hold on.
Oh, yeah, we have to approve the agenda first. I move that we approve the agenda as noted.
I'll second that.
Okay, it has been properly moved and second that the agenda be approved with necessary changes. All those in favor respond with aye, please.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. All right, agenda carries 5-0. Okay, our next item is approval of our minutes.
I move that we approve the June 24th and July 6th, 2021 meetings.
Second.
Okay, it has been properly moved and second that the minutes for both June 24th and July 6th be approved. All those in favor respond with aye.
Aye.
All those in favor? I'm sorry. All those opposed, same sign. All right, motion carries 5-0. Okay, with that, we will go into listening to our speaker.
Okay, thank you, Madam Mayor. I am Craig Brasian. I am with CHW, and I'm here on behalf of the applicant and the business, which is your first item on the agenda. Last time I was here, we were continue time certain to this date. So I want to come in and give you an update on our application. It is still a work in progress. We are continuing to work with staff, and now understand that Kimberly Horn is assisting with the review, so we will be.
I'm having trouble hearing. I'm thinking people I know is having trouble hearing you also. Speaking to Mike. There you
Yeah, is
go.
that better?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want me to start over? I was here to give you an update on our application. It's a work in progress. We're continuing to coordinate with your staff, and as I said, now know that Kimberly Horn is involved, so we'll bring them into the discussion and to our conversations, and they bring another perspective to the feedback. We're working on, as you know, there's a development agreement component to this application. So we're working on making our way through that, hopefully coming to an agreement on everything. But right now, we are what we believe and what we understand from staff to be probably the primary component, which is minimal lot size. So we talked with staff. We understand that the minimum lot size that y'all may be comfortable with is larger than where we started. So we are continuing redesigning our project, rerunning some economic numbers to make sure that we can get closer to what it is that will give you comfort for approval, and also at the same time that will make and keep a project economically viable. And those are obviously decisions that we have to make on our end. And we're hopeful that we can get there. And then we also believe that talking with your staff, that once we can get to an agreed point on the minimum lot size, we think the rest of the issues will be pretty easy and quick to address. But all that being said, we are still working on it. It's our goal to bring something that to you that we are in agreement with your staff, and that we feel that you will be proud of and find approvable. So we would ask for you to continue this item again while we continue to work on it. And hopefully next time we come back, we'll be ready to share with you our project. And now I'll answer the questions you have.
Yes.
Do you have any idea how long you want to continue this? I think we have to give a date, don't we, to keep from?
I would recommend against your second meeting in September. That should give us
September.
And it's up to y'all whether you want to continue it or not. And then if you choose not to, then Allison, our planning consultant, is here to represent the case, should y'all decide you want to move forward and decide to act on it tonight.
Mayor,
Yes.
if we were to continue it, what'll be different between now and September than what has been going on with staff? I mean, I've seen, the draft development agreement was out, and I saw the crossed out version that came back. And so there's a pretty big chasm on a lot of things other than lot size. So what will be different between now and September?
Well, I think the sticking point now, Chair, the sticking point or the primary issue has been lot size. So until we can get past that, so the main difference is that we were working on design that increased the size of the lots. And then once, and in coordination with the staff, that has been what we needed. We've been sort of, we should get that out of the way first. And then I do think, even though that there's a lot of markup in that document, we haven't really gotten into the finer details about why we see that. Some of that is repetitive, what's already in code. We've had some of those discussions at high level, and that's why we think that once we get past the lot size and know that we have a design that works, because the change in the lot size may also alleviate some of the other concerns about compatibility and whatnot. So that is the key component that we need to first address, and then we can dive in and work through the others.
Any other comments?
So, how does staff feel about
Well, I'll go ahead if
Okay,
you'd like.
okay.
My procedure in the past, Madam Mayor, has been when you have a zoning matter or you have something that is of this import and you have one of our commissioners who had a family emergency is in Jacksonville through no expectation, but he's there. So we're left with a situation where we've got a potential 2-2 vote. And so my history on a situation like this is that becomes the applicant's choice. If he chooses to go forward, and of course, a 2-2 vote is a no, and then it doesn't pass, and that puts his situation into greater limbo. Certainly not putting this on Commissioner Jameson at all. He had an unexpected emergency, but this is one of those things that I pass the ball to the applicant in this kind of situation and say, okay, what do you choose to do? I do think that the next time we come before you, we need to have a up or down situation because this has been attenuated
It's too
long for the applicant's benefit, the neighbor's benefit, and the rest of the citizens. So we need to wrap it up and get it done. I think your manager has given very specific language to the applicant that of what staff wants to see. So I think that there's no mystery as to what staff wants, and we'll present that when the time comes. And should that sway you, then and they don't meet those goals, then you have a choice to vote against what staff wants and vote on behalf of the applicant, or you can decide against the application based upon what staff's report and recommendations are. So I think there's no mystery at this point, and I think that's also what Craig is telling us. He's very much understanding of where he's at on behalf of the applicant. Now, the other piece of it that he just mentioned is that it may not be economically viable for his client. That's one of their choices as well. But in a fundamental fairness standpoint, it's up to him with a potential 2-2 vote. In my view, that's been always my history and advice to my commissions.
And taking into consideration that Commissioner Scott do have a lot of opinions on this, so.
Okay, do I hear us saying that we willing to postpone this one more time? I'm asking.
I'm in agreement for that.
Yeah.
So we good for September?
I just want to point out, we always change the meeting dates in September, which is normally scheduled for the 9th and the 23rd. But due to budget requirements, we always hold it on a Monday, on the 20th. So the second meeting in September would actually be September the 20th.
September the 20th. Okay, if Vice Scott, September. Yes, Vice Mayor.
Well, do you want to? I will make a motion for the sake of discussion that because Commissioner Jameson is not here, that we hold it over until the second meeting in September, which is September 20th.
Can we include in that motion that this is our last extension on this? Is that possible?
I'm sorry, Madam Mayor, what was it?
We were saying that this would be the last extension that we would do on this. Can we make that part of our motion?
We can. Of course, it's contingent on whatever happens in that event. There's any number of things that could happen.
Right, I prefer not to. If you
I
want
was
to
about
make
to ask
another,
you, it was your motion, so.
yeah, no, I prefer not to put that, but
Okay. All right,
I'll second it for this
Okay.
discussion.
it has been motion and second
do we
that,
need, I think we were going to, not sure how this is working. You said Kimberly was,
Kinley Horn was
Kinley.
here. I think that they will probably wait until it's time for y'all to take action for them to present, because this will change the development and what it looks like. And so it could be a different kind of deal when they come forward. If they increase the lot size, that changes everything Allison's already worked on. So we'll keep
Okay.
her in the loop as we move forward, so she can provide her advice, and we'll all work together with our city attorney, Mr. Walker, so that we can, hopefully we can come to something that we can agree on that would be something the city would really like, and that we'll just see.
I was asking maybe the audience.
yeah,
Yeah,
I was gonna wait till we finish here.
okay.
All right, we clear with this part?
Yeah.
All right, any audience comments? No. Kevin, you got anybody on your end?
Madam Mayor, we do have one person raising their hand right now, Mr. Rushing. Mr. Rushing, we allow you to speak to the commission. You're allowed that.
Is this for any kind of discussion?
Mr. Rushing, you'll need to unmute yourself. If you'd like to speak to us through Zoom.
Good evening.
Mr. Rushing, we can hear you if you want to speak.
Okay, I didn't know if you can hear me. Good evening. This is my first time hearing about the new development in my community. From my understanding, the property that's in talks of being developed is literally less than 100 yards from my front door. So I'm trying to see when they say that they're going to develop this property, how much property are we talking about they're developing?
It's 89.69 acres and they want to develop it as single-family homes. And we are still working on what the proposed lot size is going to be and other specifics about it. We still have to figure out, but it's going to be a single-family home neighborhood on 89 acres.
Okay, are you able to tell me what the impact might be to the community? Because I live right on 190th Avenue, just less than a quarter mile down the road from Bailey Estates.
Yes, so we do a concurrency and the concurrency shows that the impact will be minimal. And it should be less because if the developer goes to larger lots, that will make the impact even less. But it also depends on how the subdivision is ultimately designed, which they're going back to look at, and where the access roads will be, which I don't think will change, and other items. Since it's still in progress, I can't answer everything as the development plan is changing.
Okay, and my other question is, how is this going to benefit the community itself in this area?
I think that's more for the applicant to talk to.
Is he able to hear me?
Yeah, I'm here, again, Craig Brady with CHW. That is why we're asking to keep working with the city, so that we can work out some of the finer details of this project. But I mean, it will bring, opportunity for housing to the community, increase residential and property tax base. And I would say it could benefit your local businesses by expanding their customer base. But from the aesthetic side, those are the issues that we are continuing to work with your city commissioners and your city manager and staff.
Okay. The proposed lot size that you applied for right now, what size is those?
That is the primary issue that we're still discussing. We don't know. We know we need to be north of 6,000 square feet. That's kind of where we are. And we're working on concept designs to know that we can get as large a lot as possible and still make an economically viable project. So that's why we're requesting a little additional time to work through those design characteristics.
Okay, and for the city council or the city commissioners, we in this area, numerous of us are on well water. How is that going to impact us? Are we going to be forced to get on city water and city wastewater, or are we going to still be allowed to keep our well and our septics?
This development will not impact your water. This development will be on city water and you can stay on your well.
Okay. Okay. And my other question is that, is this development going to help to increase our roadways in this area? Because at this point, our roadways are pretty bad. You know, the road itself doesn't have potholes and all of that, but the drainage on this road is very bad.
So what we do is a traffic impact analysis at time of planning. Craig, you can talk to it if you want.
Sure. Just to kind of give a little background and a little overview of the process. At this stage, this is more of a right to develop. The development itself is being approved. There will still be additional plans and processes that follow this. We will still have to go through engineering design, and we will, as the city manager was saying, a traffic study. will be conducted when we get closer to developing. But that will be some kind of distance, because there are other issues in the city with wastewater capacity for what needs to be addressed before we can even get to the point where real development would occur. So those types of issues will definitely be looked at in great detail. It will just be a little further down the road in the process.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Okay,
Madam Mayor, we had one more hand up.
all right.
Ms. Carrington, you are now on the commission.
Hi, I live in Bailey Estates, and I'm going to say right off, I'm in a D.R. Horton home and I'm happy in my house. But I'm also going to say that since I've lived in High Springs and heard about this project, I have a number of questions. How is the city going to prepare the infrastructure for the increased residents of the city that this will definitely put a demand on? It's not rocket science. Traffic will go up, and we can barely handle the traffic we have now. How is the city going to prepare for this?
At the time of plating, we, as I mentioned earlier, we have a traffic impact study. And if the study shows that improvements need to be made to the roads that are on the periphery of the development to handle the traffic, then the developer is required to make those improvements.
And then in concerns with schools and water, sewage, everything that goes up in demand, how is the city going to prepare to handle this load?
Well, we have enough capacity, we have enough water capacity for a long time for many people to continue using our water. And on our sewer, we're working on agreements with the developer so that we reserve enough capacity for ongoing developments. And if we don't have enough, then we will stop the development until we have it. And the developer understands that and is entering into an agreement. So we are not guaranteeing capacity for new developments at this point until we get in our wastewater treatment plant expanded. But we do have the wastewater treatment plant. We think that we will get the money for it soon and be able to bid it and get it under construction in the next year. As far as the schools, we did a concurrency report, and there is concurrency to handle more people coming into the city of High Springs, but I'm not the school district, so I can't go into specifics.
My final question has to do with partly land management. A part of what appealed to me to buy my house in Bailey Estates were the trees that were around the community. And I heard the plan was to cut those down on the east side of Bailey Estates. Is that true?
Currently, there are no plans that I am aware of to cut any trees down. And if anyone wants to cut trees down in the city, they have to submit a tree survey, and staff will approve or deny the trees being cut down based on what's in our ordinances. Right now, nothing has been received to cut down any trees.
I'm going to stop asking questions now because I'm caught up, but I will honestly say that I have more. I'm going to direct them to the city council in hopes to get more answers. So thank you for your time.
Madam Mayor, there were no more hands on Zoom.
Okay, thank you. Okay. All right, we know what our guidance is. Do we need anything else, Scott, from us?
Ma'am.
Okay. I did, I asked for audience comments. Nobody?
She raised my hand.
Oh, okay.
Hello, my name is Pamela Landis and I live in Bailey Estates. You all know me. I've been here every meeting. Again, I know the last time that we were here and we were talking about this development, we did say that on July 22nd that this would be the final chance for them to bring the plans. I understand that Commissioner Jameson is out. I hope that we don't let them continue to drag this on. As for the trees that are on the property, they have already come through and marked trees.
Okay, I was not aware of that.
Yes, they
Okay.
have. I have photos. I've sent them to a couple people that have come out and seen it. They have already marked trees right up against our property lines that
Okay,
they are willing to come and take down. You know, I know all of you had an oath when you came in that you were gonna help protect our lands and there's actually a, I'm not sure exactly what the name of it is, but just to protect our properties, and if we keep cutting down all these trees like they did when they came into Bailey Estates, when the developer came in and sold out to DR Horton, they came in and clear cut our property. We have no trees. You can tell a difference between the original developer and the new developers. And, you know, they take our trees, they're taking our oxygen, they're taking away our wildlife. I feed the deer in the back of my yard every night. If they take these trees down, that's where my deer come in. And I have a 93-year-old mother who wants to see those deer. So I'm asking that we please, if we are working with these people, let's make sure that we have a lot of green space between us and Bailey's, or between us and this new development. Also, I've just been elected on as the HOA president, which I'm not sure is good or bad, but we are very, very concerned about our roads. I know that the city doesn't have our roads, we have them and our signs. We do not want people coming through our neighborhood, tearing up our streets, especially if they're gonna stay private. And I know that there were areas there for them to connect through. We will fight that because we do have private roads and we wanna keep it that way. We don't want our children having to fight 300 more cars every single day. So we ask that you all please consider this. Please do not let them continue to drag this out any longer. Our developer has made a mess of Bailey Estates, and I hate to see other people go through this again. Thank you.
Thank you. No one else? Okay. We did have a motion made on this by the vice mayor, but we never got a second.
Yeah.
Did we?
Yes.
So we done with that. Okay. So we can move right along to our next item.
We have to.
We never voted on.
Oh, well, I just lost, I guess. Okay. All those in favor of the extension on this project, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. I didn't know if we needed a roll call.
No, not on, we're just making a motion.
A motion on this one.
Okay,
Okay. It's not an audience or anything. Those opposed, same sign. Okay. Carries 4-0. All right, we made it through it. All right, let's move to the next item, which is citizens' requests and comments for issues that are not on the agenda. And please state the name for the record and limit your comments to 5 minutes, please.
Bruce Waters, 21535 South 441 High Springs, Florida. Not on the agenda, just was on the agenda. And I'm very sad about y'all's decision. It has to do, we go back 8 generations at the same place. I didn't say in Florida, I said in the same place. We still got our farm. Is where my mom's people started out. But they're always talking about history and stuff like that. I can't understand how anybody on that council could vote against history in High Springs, a theater that was built back in 1896 before there even was a city of High Springs. Now, you got your canoe outpost, and I'm not against that at all, you know. But this theater, when they were running the theater, for families and all around here, especially people who couldn't afford it. They didn't even break even when they had a movie there. I mean, a long time, it only cost $1 or $2 to go in there and see a movie. You know, then it went up to $5. Now, if you go to a movie theater now, it's about $10 or $12. You know, and family's been here a long time too. But anyway, I'm against y'all dropping the idea of we don't need the theater. We don't want the theater here in High Springs. We don't want history here in High Springs. So that's why I'm here. I usually don't come unless something's important. And got a good dear friend that's not here that's on the city commissioner, and I've already talked to him about it. He's seen my views on it. And I pray to God there, or whatever the emergency was, that the good Lord will look after it. But I want to know from every one of them, from the city manager to everyone on the board, why y'all don't want the police theater now. What's the big deal?
Oh, is it appropriate to talk during citizen comments?
It's not in our rules. Actually, it's not a question and answer session. It's up to the commission and mayor to decide if they want to respond at this point. But it's not a typical back and forth type thing under our rules of procedure. So you have the floor to make and say anything that you wish, but it's up to them if they wish to respond at this point.
If you want me to, I will. Okay.
I don't have a problem.
Oh, shoot.
Go ahead.
Well, staff's recommendation, what we provided was what it would take to get the theater back up and running, because when the city takes over something, we have higher standards we have to meet by, state and federal law, on handicaps, ADA accessibility, on a number of factors. So the cost to open back up the theater was over $1 million. And the cost to purchase the theater was around, we never negotiated cost, but the appraised value is $325,000. So basically, when all was said and done, you're looking at a very, very high cost. And the fund that would fund that only makes $200,000 a year. And the majority of revenue is already spent on operating costs and other programs and projects. And our general fund, we don't even have a street budget yet. So it's competing priorities. And I think that people felt like I think people support the theater. I think they support history. I think everyone wanted to do the theater, wanted to make it work, which is why we spent months trying to put something together and a business plan. And the conclusion was that the general fund would end up having to subsidize it. And so that information was provided to the commission to make their decision. And the decision ultimately was to forego it because of the high cost. And even over $1 million, it didn't even include sprinkling the theater, and it didn't include any aesthetic renovations. That was just to bring it up to code.
I can comment.
Go ahead if you like.
We have to look at the cost of things and prioritize. We have a lot of things going on here in the city of High Springs, and we've had to make some rough decisions, and there's going to be some more tough decisions. The priest was just going to cost way too much money. We just don't have the money to do it.
Can I speak some more?
It's up to the mayor.
Okay. I'm sorry. Okay, we understand where you are and how you feel about it. But keep in mind, though, we're trying to do the best that we can for the city of High Springs with the dollars that we have to spend. And as the other speakers have said, it was a costly project. And we just didn't have the dollar to back it up.
That's why they have state grants. That's why Gainesville spends $2-3 million on the building. Stuff like this is Watchway County still in High Springs.
Mhm.
If they can get things done, why can't y'all get things done? Y'all even talk to the our state legislator or historical society up in Tallahassee.
We talked to a lot of people and looked for opportunities for partnerships and grants, but nothing's guaranteed and we couldn't take the risk.
So a building that's been here before the town of High Springs, it just be tore down or sold or
It's
whatever.
it's up to the property owner what happens to the building at this point.
Well, I mean, Mayor.
Yes, you-
We could just point out that it can't be torn down. It's on
Yeah.
the National Historic Register, and that's one of the things that the commission made sure of before we move forward with declining.
It is a historical.
It is. It's on the
It is.
National
Yeah.
Historic
Yes, it
Register.
is.
So,
Yeah.
so a demolition permit would not be
The
issued.
oldest theater in Florida, the oldest one. I almost said, don't run that gate unless you know what you're talking about. I know what I'm talking about. One time my hand worked in that. Y'all rather have somebody go up and down the rivers in a canoe.
I want you to know those are different funds. So the money for the canoe outpost is a different fund. And with the different funds, there's different stipulations tied to them. So the money for the theater would have come from a fund that didn't have much money. And that fund is the one authorized for this type of project. The canoe outpost, the money that would be used as wild spaces. And so the canoe outpost fits in that fund. So we can only spend within the parameters of the fund, which are, set by the county or the state, wherever the money comes from. So if we had that fund to tap into for this, then we might have taken a different look at it. But our only options were the fund that we looked at, plus the general fund, as well as, partnerships, which is why we worked for months on it, because we did want it and we did want to be a part of this project and have it under city control. But the more we studied it, it was not a viable project without supplementing funds that would hurt other critical areas, including fire, police, and infrastructure.
One more question. I'll leave it on. Well, how do they take a place like the Methodist Museum that costs more than that? And the county buys it, and they fund everything there, and they won't do it for little old High Spring. That's the main thing.
The county has a lot more money than us.
A lot.
And that's the short answer, a lot. It's
Mhm.
very different situation.
Thanks for your time.
All right, thank you. Anyone else from the audience?
It's not about that.
Okay.
My name is Becky Bates. Nice to see you.
Same to you.
And I live in Heron Landing here in High Springs, and I am here tonight to appeal to you all about our road that leads into Heron Landing. Heron Landing's road is great. So I don't know if you need my address or not. I'm happy to give it. I did send an email, and my information is on the email. I think you all got it. The road that is in request here is Boxcar Court. And it is on the opposite side of where you all just did water and sewer, I believe, on Boxcar Court. But they left about, I'm going to estimate it about 320 feet of road Because if each lot is 80 foot wide, that should, my math should be pretty close. So anyway, it's a deplorable road. It's the only way we can get in and out of our neighborhood is to use Boxcar Court to get to 182nd. So you all did, just because of appealing to the city, fill it in with filled in the potholes, which I appreciate very much. We still go around everything because the filling in it's not even a good Band-Aid. It was an effort and we appreciate it, but people are driving on the basically city access of the Jehovah's Witness church right there to go around the pothole because it's literally tearing up our cars. And we just had to have our tires realigned. It was a $110 bill. That's okay. We have a neighbor in Heron Landing whose husband he's actually in rehabilitation right now because of back surgery. She has just, and I know she's appealed to you all in the past, she's had to drive gingerly to get him in and out for appointments. We have a couple other neighbors that are here tonight that are willing to appeal to you as well, but part of the email, and I don't know if you all saw it, Ms. Jones, who is the developer of Heron Landing, wrote out a timeline. Back when this neighborhood was developed, you all came to an agreement that she would pay to have this part of Boxcar Court surface. And it was some kind of specialty surfacing, and I'm sorry, I don't have my glasses on and I don't remember what it's called. But anyway, everybody did it and they found out that this particular product failed. Ms. Jones went back to the contractor and he agreed to fix the roads for free. For whatever reason, he fixed Heron Landing's road, but the commission said, no, we don't want it fixed. We're going to leave it the way it is. And it is failed. And that is documented, and you can talk to Ms. Jones if you'd like, and I'm sure when she can, she couldn't do it tonight. She couldn't be here, but she'd probably be very happy to come in and talk to you. But anyway, the point is, it needs resurfaced. The pothole filling is a nice effort. It's not working though. It's not helping. And so I would love for you all to resurface. When we built our house, we'll be there 3 years on August 9th. And so in 2018, the city was excited to tell us that they had approved having Boxcar Court resurfaced. So we were excited too. That was in 2018. And I know there is one other little suggestion. I don't know how this would fly, but if we ever can get this resurfaced, or even if you're not going to resurface it, there is another road that we could get in and out of that is barricaded off. It's 183rd Avenue. And it is like it butts up to our neighborhood, but it is barricaded right now. You could take the barricade down and let us use 183rd Avenue until you all are willing to resurface Boxcar Court. And then we could use that as our ingress and egress. So it's just a suggestion. I don't know if it's a good idea, bad idea. I don't know if we get more traffic. I mean, we're a cul-de-sac dead end. So, it's not like if people come, if they come by accident to come down into our neighborhood. We have 14 home sites. We have 12 homes currently occupied. And then there are additional 3 homes on Boxcar Court that are affected by the road. So like I said, it's an appeal to you all. It's been approved apparently a couple of times and it never happened. So apparently budget did say, yes, resurface this, and it didn't happen. And then you were there last month, resurfacing the other side of 182nd Road on Boxcar Court, and nobody saw it fit to go ahead and resurface this portion. It's not a big portion. I don't know what it would cost. I have no idea, but hopefully there's money in the budget for it. I have a letter from a neighbor. I don't know who I hand this to, and I have my timeline printed out if you all want these.
Okay.
And I thank you for your time.
Okay.
Oh, gosh,
Right on time.
Since I didn't break.
All right. Anybody else from the audience? Okay, Kevin, you have anyone?
Madam Mayor, there's no hands up.
Okay. Then we will move right along to new business. Consider approval of amendment number 3 to agreement with Pro Champs for vacant property registration.
This is a 2-year extension to the original agreement that we had with Pro Champ. The agreement was 50% of out the college. Last year, it was $2,500 our share. As you know, they're very few vacant homes now. But this agreement is just to extend it.
Any comments, commissioners?
Is it the exact same agreement?
It's the same agreement, nothing's changed, it's just extending the original.
Yeah, I could do that too. All right,
I'll move. We approve extending the agreement for 2 years.
Second.
all right, this has been properly moved and second that this agreement be granted 2-year extension. All those in favor respond with aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Okay, carries 4-0. All right, next item. Consider, discuss, and act on a memorandum of understanding with City of Gainesville on behalf of the Police Department for collaboration of peer support program.
Mission,
Mhm.
the memorandum is new. Of course, this is typically for law enforcement when they are in a traumatic incident. It helps provide support, psychological support for them. So we see things with other municipalities have teamed up to enter an agreement and support that effort. IGP that gives us training. Part of that team.
Commissioners?
Mayor.
Yes.
Chief. I read through the agreement and it sounded really good. Is this perhaps the start of perhaps having people go out with the police department for someone who may be having mental issues?
So this is separate. This is for actual police officers.
Okay, so it's not a,
They do have some different programs already that sheriff's office does in Gainesville Police Department. So this right here, which we have already utilized, the Lafayette County Sheriff's Office. So when our officers are involved in a traumatic incident, naturally, be affected by that. And so it gets them.
okay, it's for the officers. Okay. Thank you.
All right. Nothing else? Audience? No? Kevin, nothing? Okay, motion?
I move that we approve the memorandum of understanding with the City of Gainesville on behalf of their police department.
Second.
Okay, it's been properly moved in second that this memorandum of understanding for the police department be approved. All those in favor respond with aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0. All right, last item number 4.
Right, so this next item, Madam Mayor and Commission, is setting the proposed tentative millage rate for fiscal year FY 2021-2022. The current millage rate is 5.88. The rollback rate is 5.5017. And staff is proposing that the millage rate right now be set at 6.25 which is higher than our current rate of 5.88. The reason why is that we haven't gone through the budget workshops yet, and it just gives us a little breathing room as we discuss and y'all determine the priorities for the future of High Springs. As you know, gas rates have gone up, which has impacted our fleet. Employees didn't have raises last year. There's a lot of infrastructure projects that need to be done around the community, as well as some code compliance projects as well. So staff would just like to have a little breathing room, and just in case it's needed, the millage rate at final reading can go back down to 5.88, and of course, that is the goal. However, as we go through the process in the budget workshops, we would request that you pass the resolution fixing the proposed tentative millage rate at 6.25.
Madam Mayor, would you like me to read the title and
Please.
have a motion? We'll place it on the floor for further discussion.
Yes.
This is Resolution 2021F, a resolution of the City of High Springs, Florida, determining an amount on fixing the proposed tentative rate of ad valorem taxation for fiscal year 2021, 2022, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, and providing an effective date. The appropriate motion is to pass Resolution 2021-F, and as the manager has stated, the resolution fixes the millage rate at 6.25.
Commissioners' comments?
Ma'am.
No. Audience comments?
We'll remind folks again on Zoom, if they'd like to speak, to please utilize the raise your hand function. Seeing no hands at this time.
Yes. Yes.
I've got another thing to take about 30 seconds. I can have you kick me out if I go. Okay.
All right.
Is it dealing with this, Bruce?
Deal split up. My man was in business 58
But-
years. My friend.
But we discussing
We on
something
this
else right
item.
now, Bruce. We can't.
Yeah, but what I'm asking, are we gonna be able to speak after that?
It's up to.
Okay. Let us finish this.
Mayor, I mean, do we need a second on this, or a motion, a second on this ordinance, and then get into discussion, or how we?
No, we should do our discussion.
Okay. Can I,
Mm-hmm.
you know, the millage rate is a big deal to citizens, and I'm surprised we don't have more people here, or potentially they're all on Zoom, I don't know. But I've followed the millage rate in High Springs for a number of years, and you all know I usually show up at budget hearings, and now I'm up here. So it's a whole different process, but you know, we're going to be replacing the finance director. We have a new city manager, and we have a lot of needs. So, you know, the way the process works is we have to set a millage, and that becomes, it's a tentative millage. It's not the millage. And so we give the city manager and ourselves some flexibility as we go through approving the budget by, we could go as high as this. And we've for many years have restricted ourselves, and you get to the end of the budget process and it's like, oh, but everything's going up so much right now. And millage rates, people go, we have the highest millage rate. And I've heard it for years, you know, in Alachua County and this and that. And it's not really true, because millage rate is a number, but what it does is a function of three things. So you have your rate, you have property values, and then you have the amount of taxable land. And the revenues generated by those three variables are supposed to generate enough dollars to take care of the community needs and the things citizens expect, so that we can come up with a budget that reflects community priorities. And right now, I keep hearing, we don't have money for roads. We don't have money for this. We don't have money for that. And the fact is, you know, we're a very small city. We're the only city in the county, other than Gainesville, that has its own police and fire department and sewer system and water system. And we don't have a revenue stream like a utility. So one of our only ways, like an electric utility. So other than water rates and mostly waste, we don't have a way to generate revenue other than primarily property tax. So as much as I'm not in favor of taxing, the only other alternative would be to willingly let every developer go ahead and develop so we can be increasing our tax base based on growth. And that's not taking care of the current citizens. So if we want to be able to hold developers accountable and we want to try and protect the reasons people have moved to this community, there's a cost. And so I don't know what it's going to be, but I'm willing to work with a budget that right now includes an increase in revenue to the city because everything else is going up. And I don't know how we're going to cover it without looking at some additional tax dollars. So I'm throwing that out there.
Okay. Any of the other commissioners?
I agree with Commissioner Ambrose. We do have to have funds to be able to run this city. As I've stated before, the strategic plan meeting that we had several months ago opened my eyes to so much that needs to be done in this city for the police department and for the fire department particularly, as well as for the city staff. There's a lot that needs to be done. People always complain when we raise taxes. I'm not happy with the tax increase either. Our tax increase, though, will impact our citizens far less than county taxes or the school board taxes. Has anybody looked at what you pay for schools these days? And in order, and we are constantly asked, what about roads? You know, if we are in dire need for roads, but there's only so much money. And the cost, it was given here, how little really it will impact the citizens as compared to what we can do with it is very minimal. So I will be in favor of this as well.
Okay.
Let me say this.
Okay.
We're gonna sit at this rate, but we always can come down.
Right.
This is not fixed. This is not it tonight. I'm gonna just know that it's a possibility that it can't come down. We just want to make sure that we got enough, I say wiggle room, but come up with a feasible budget to.
Yeah, you set it lower, you can't go up, but you
Right.
set it higher, you can go down.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. All right, this one needs a roll call, all right? We need a motion.
I move that we approve resolution 2021-F as read.
So,
All right, we properly moved in second, and now we can do our roll call vote.
Vice Mayor Jones,
Yes.
Commissioner Ambrose,
Yes.
Commissioner Williams,
yes.
Mayor James.
Yes. All right, motion carries 4-0. All right. City attorney's report and update. All right, city manager's report and update.
I don't have anything today because all I've been doing is budget and that's all staff has been doing. Well, I take that back. Staff does a lot, but there's nothing major right now from me. But I think Bruce, we did have a bid come in today and some other things, Bruce.
So we received
talk
the bid
about.
on third well. It's within the price scope that we thought it was gonna be in. We talked to that contractor, no one received one. And we are gonna start working on financial items that should be back to the commission hopefully August to look at approval, get the third well going. Just give you an idea of how dire need we are. Well number one was down for a few days this week. We gotta get some parts. It's back up and heavy on us for a little while. The water project, we've got some pipe in, so they're moving forward. They did a couple boards under 27 this week with DOT permits. They'll be hopefully finishing up the boards under 27 this week or next week, excuse me. And we should be closing to an end once we start tying into the houses and go back to aerials. About 90 days out, but it's not looking like December unless we're running into another short. So it's moving along pretty good. There's been some questions about driveways and my yard looks bad and things like that. They'll get it taken care of on the finished grade, things along those lines. We did meet with the engineers. We talked about the previous meeting about coming out, looking at some stormwater issues and some runoff issues, and we're waiting on a report to come back from them at this point. We've identified a couple of little things that we can do on our own, and there's some other things that we're gonna get a report back. That's all I got.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Borders.
I think, when he's done, Antoine wants to talk.
The last thing I was gonna do with my time right now, so. August 14th. I'll be a birthday to a man. Put High Springs, Florida on the map. He was in like 46 states of business out of 50. The name is Sonny Tillman. He'll be 92 years old at that time. His wife's 92 years old already. And there's a lot of towns, cities, or whatever you want to call them there. They have what they call like Sonny Tillman's Day. And as much as he's done for the town and all the praise there, that's one right there, praise right there. Assistant manager, fire chief. He wanted a cemetery. And the fire chief right there got him a cemetery, family cemetery. So, and then for Sonny Tillman, then they Sonny barbecues. And like I say, I think they should have an appreciation day and do something in the civic center or something like that. What they go there, what y'all want to do. And maybe once the channel 20 is built for the line. Everything's happening, we can have it now. Everybody will look good. Thank you for your time.
All right, thank you.
Still gonna work on the appreciation.
All right.
Thank you, ma'am.
That was perfect timing because the next thing I was going to ask for was announcements. They were right on time.
I have one.
Okay.
Yes.
6 o'clock marked the end of the qualifying week. As you know, Commissioner Jameson is not running for the seat again. We did have one candidate for that, Catherine Whites, who's here tonight. She did
Okay.
qualify. And for Commissioner Williams' seat, he reapplied and that he's the only candidate. So as they're the only candidates for each seat, we will not have an election this year. They are automatically in.
All right.
All right.
Very
Yes.
good. That's
Congratulations.
right. Yes, indeed.
Madam Mayor, I wanted to.
Come on.
Okay. Wanted to formally invite everyone to the National Night Out on August the 3rd, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. This is the first time we've had it in the last few years because of COVID and some other planning issues that we've not been able to have it. So we started advertising. It's going to be out at the Civic Center, so National Night Out on August 3rd.
Yeah.
Tell me what time again?
6 p.m. To 9, and we'd like you to do the welcome chill on that.
Okay.
What
Thank
time
you.
was that? You said
6 to
Thursday?
9.
6 to 9 p.m.
Yeah, I've gotten the stuff. I just need to write it down too.
Oh, okay.
August 3rd.
Yeah.
All right, let's start with
National Night Out.
commissioners, Commissioner Ambrose.
Okay. Couple things, I shared in the fun you all have had in the past working farm share. So I did my first one this last weekend. It was fun and I was really impressed with the number of city staff who participated. And a number of them, I don't think were on the payroll while they were doing it. So I'm impressed with that. I saw some stuff floating around that one of our local businesses is celebrating a year anniversary on Saturday, the High Springs Brewery. And so opening in a year of COVID and making it and contributing, I don't know what the details are, but I know they've got something going on Saturday to celebrate that anniversary. I did have a question for staff and I don't know the feeling on the other commissioners, but can we get our packets like the Friday before the week of the meeting or at least some kind of thing? Because when it comes in last minute on a Monday night, it's hard when we've got a lot of stuff. So I'm just putting that out there that if there's a way to move that timeline up, I know I would benefit from the extra time to look at the materials. So I'm throwing that out there. And the other thing I'm going to comment on is Boxcar Court. I'm at that dead end on 183rd that joins Boxcar Court, and I look out on Boxcar Court, but I can't reach it. So, and the thing I'd say about that is, to me, it's been a symbol. It's one of the reasons I keep complaining about the roads and gas tax. That road is as bad as the road back to the sports complex, that one block area. And in the materials that we were sent by email, they're right. The contractor tore it apart when they put the sewer into Heron Landing. With huge piles of lime rock and things were all set in there. And we didn't force the contractor to do anything. And I know as a citizen, I made comments to city staff that the road really deteriorated during that construction. So as we look at this issue, and I've told those residents that were here, there's nothing not right about what they're saying and asking for. We just don't have the money. And so as we go forward in the next few years, I really, hopefully we can look at, 2, 3, 5-year action plans to help solve some of these things so they quit popping up, because, we kick the can down the court and we keep having citizens have different issues. It could be runoff, it could be a broken road, it could be trees that aren't getting taken care of and become dangerous. But we've grown enough where I'm really excited about hopefully a challenging budget process, but actually being able to look at some of these issues and chip away with them, and versus saying next year. So high expectations, Ashley.
Oh my gosh, I wish there was a money tree. We are doing the best we can. We've been going through it.
Yeah.
Can I address a couple things, Commissioner Amber's comments?
Okay.
The area of paving that happened on Boxcar Court was on the other end of Boxcar Court, which was south side of the woods.
Yeah.
The project, the CDG project that ran through Swan River Water Management, that project did not extend to that side of Boxcar Court. It's not like we forgot about it and said, oh, we're just not gonna do that.
He's right.
So that was funded through a grant. It stopped about halfway down Boxcar Court to what is now 180th. So it did stop there. There's some other concerns in that area. One, the road that was closed, that's on 183rd Avenue. Probably should have never been closed to begin with. That was requested at the developer or from the developer when they were doing Heron Landing to shut that down. We've done some research on that road being closed, and there's some very vague mentions of it.
Well,
I was opposed to closing that road back in 2003, 2004. I'm still opposed to it to this day because it really causes some issues with emergency response to that area. And it only allows one way in and one way out. We have a stacking effect when we're trying to do operations in that area or trying to get emergency response vehicles in there. I know as a citizen, Commissioner Ambrose expressed some concerns about that at one point.
Yeah.
I think that would help with looking at maybe opening that up at this point in time just to alleviate some of the traffic. Because what we've effectively done is we've allowed one way in and one way out off of one road that we funnel all their traffic through. Now, it's not a lot of traffic. You're talking 14 homes, everybody has 2 cars. It's, I don't want to say it's not a priority, but it wouldn't be a high impact road that we would even look at paving at this point because the amount of traffic footprint that goes through there, it's not a lot of traffic, it's limited. We have roads like 244th, the old 9th Street that are in dire straits that see a lot more cars come through it at this point in time. 174th Avenue in spots, Old Palm Avenue, Northwest 222 Street. A lot of these main arteries are in really, really bad shape. But you're looking at approximately $1 million a mile to pave a road, right? If not a little bit more. So we've been out looking at roads. We've been out identifying it. We're working on 2 grants with Kenway Horn right now. To reduce some of these main roads to try to take the impact off of what our costs would be. We're talking $7, $8, $10 million projects, right? To eliminate some of the burden on us, where we can focus on some of these smaller areas, 300, 400, 500 seats, try to do something that's within our scope and within our budget. So staff is paying attention to it. We've been doing a lot with engineers, but I just wanted to let you know it's not going unnoticed.
And I also want you to know the roadway impact fee study is currently underway. So that should help.
Which is great. Yeah, and the road was closed before I lived there. So, and I've always known that it potentially could be open. So I don't have a dog really either way in that, although I like living at that end. But the history on why it was closed was the state law required a developer to pave to the nearest, connect to the nearest paved road. So Heron Landing was willing to go to 183rd because it was 1/3 the distance versus paving 183rd. So then the city said, well, 183rd is a dirt road. Everybody will use that and it'll be a cut through, which had never existed into the connecting. So then we're going to have to maintain, the city doesn't have the money to maintain 4 blocks of dirt road. And so the compromise was we'll close it off, which the developer agreed to, and then got to pave the shorter section. So now we've paved 183rd, but we did it with chip seal. The only street in the downtown area, because it was a dead end, it wouldn't get high traffic. And it already actually does have a couple of potholes. So then the question is, if you open it up, and also if any of you haven't looked at it, it's not, the streets don't come together at 90 degrees. And the city terminated part of the right of way when Heron Landing went in. So it would be a really odd connection of a curve and a street that dead ends at an angle. So there'd probably be some engineering that would go into making that a viable whatever. And if that's a cheaper solution, but you're still going to then have the other to connect the other thing. Or the road that's failed is going to get higher traffic than what it's getting just with Heron Landing. So I guess we don't need to go through everything here, but there's a lot of history. And, you know, looking back, all the decisions were made were reasonable, but hindsight's 20/20. And what Bruce says about emergency, Google until recently showed the street connecting, and we've had ambulances dead end on our street thinking they could cut through.
Oh, wow.
We've had fire trucks dead end from the county responding to the area, people who are familiar, sheriff's deputies. But we also have, I can tell you, we get dozens of cars that come down the street thinking it goes through despite all the dead end signs and turn around. So there's definitely a need for cut through. It would be used. You know, people look for alternatives. The only way to my house is to go through this side of downtown because of how those streets are connected. Like if I'm coming from Alachua or our neighborhoods that are there, we can't weave like through Catherine Taylor and come back without coming up towards Main Street and then looping back down. So it would work to help flow off of the main roads.
Unless there is an ordinance closing the roadway.
There is not. There is no
And
ordinance that
no
closed that
deeds.
roadway.
And if there's no deeds, then it was never officially closed.
Oh, the part of it, there is, like, I actually inherited part of the right of way. And actually, it wasn't recorded by the city. And so when Heron Landing went in, the utility company put an underground transformer that feeds Heron Landing on what they thought was the edge of city right of way, which wasn't city right of way. And so there's actually a piece of my yard that's deeded to the electric company and one. So I have part of that right away and then not the other, but yeah,
It's one of those things we're still really digging into, but we'll, as what we found some of the stuff this afternoon, I mean, it still shows it being ours, but then you start talking to other people, it shows it being theirs, and it's a little bit of a mess. We gotta kind of sort through, but it was.
Yeah, my title company went and found it and had it filed, so I know that it's now been recorded and it's changed on the county map. But the other thing that complicates it is our city grid downtown is lined up on the old railroad tracks. The county grid, of course, is lined up on north, south, east, and west. Where we're talking about these roads coming together is an edge of where the city grid and the county grid tilt. So that changes the property lines right through there. So one side of my property is squared up and to the roads, and I have corners, and the other side is a diagonal that squares up to the county grid.
You're special.
It's a great little area.
Complicated.
But it makes for, I mean, it's one of the things that kind of make it neat in the neighborhood, that little area, and I like it. So I get to walk to and from the meetings.
Is that it, Ron?
That's it. I'm getting back for all those times I said, nope, I don't have anything. Commissioner Williams.
Thanks, yeah. For farm share, I want to say thank you for all the help. And we fed 671 households Saturday. And wants to look at a date for October.
Just, I think, as far as I know, do y'all know of anything going on in October? I think October is pretty clear.
Unless you look at the weekend event calendars, but
Yeah.
I think all the weekends are open. Does anyone else have anything that would conflict with any of the weekends?
But we're gonna decide now. You can get with them and
Yeah, I'll email you, call you, text you, we communicate.
it's gonna be in October.
What'd you say?
He said the 16th and 23rd work for him.
okay, whatever y'all come up with, just let me know and I'll let them know.
I'll put that on my list.
One other thing I have, I like the new website. Looks good. But I got a call. So for us fees for renting different venues here, if the fees online, I can answer the question. And I started to look, but I said, but leave it alone. So how do you get to, I've seen the site where you can go on there online to reserve it, I guess, a building.
Is the question, is there a spot to pay the rental?
No. What are the fees?
I say, famous last words. It should be on that section.
I couldn't find it.
We'll double check for sure. It's possible that it did not transfer over, and that's an oversight. So we will double check it. If it's not there, then we'll correct it.
Okay, yeah, but I tried to find the feedback. And I started to call Jen and mess with her, but it was too late. But the website looks good. I like it. It looks really good. That's all I have.
Vice Mayor?
Ross took all my time.
All
have
right.
I'll give you some back.
One more thing.
Okay.
I want to say thank you to Catherine. Hey, thank you so much. I was kind of concerned there for a minute, but thank you for
That's
throwing your
right.
head in the rain. Thank
That's
you,
right.
thank you, thank
That's
you.
right. I did mean to say that. We're going
Yeah.
to welcome Catherine in. We're going to miss Scott. He's done a great job, but Catherine's going to be a good addition. I've known her for 25-ish years or so.
Okay.
And she was just a kid. So was
Okay.
I. but she'll be a welcome addition to our commission.
And this is for the attorney. I kind of asked Jenna today, just what if she hadn't ran? And we had that seat, nobody applied.
I asked Jenny, I can't remember.
So how would we be able to?
I think you would appoint somebody and have a special election. I think that's what you would do.
And we can't afford it, so thank you, Ken.
So now you're saying the commissioners would appoint one
Yes.
and then have a special election.
Yeah.
So that's in the charter?
It's not in the charter.
Oh,
I'll
wow.
check the charter, but it might be in the statutes.
Yeah. It would be a vacancy and then you had to go through an appointment process. I think that's what it would be.
Okay, I'm just concerned about it because it never happened before, but things, there's a possibility.
No, first time for everything.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right, that was just a question on my mind.
I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah, that would have been a count. I guess we could go with 4, but then you have that's why you always want to have that.
You can't go with 4.
But that's why I said thank you. I was afraid there for a minute there, so thank you.
And I say, welcome aboard as well. We're glad to have you. All right.
Yes.
The women outnumber the men.
That's
So I couldn't say, I couldn't say that.
I won't say.
I've been around too many years now. Married too many years. So.
You need a motion to adjourn?
I need a motion.
I move, we adjourn the meeting.
All right, meeting adjourned.